So at this time, to present our first inductee, I would like to invite to the podium Ms. Ann Pooler, who will introduce Clara Swan. Ladies and gentlemen, Ann Pooler.
I'm particularly pleased to have to be part of this inaugural Hall of Fame event. But that pleasure is trumped by the opportunity to introduce our first honoree, Ms. Clara Swan. Brewer High School class of 1930, Clara Swan epitomized the image of a scholar athlete long before the phrase was coined. Brewer High has changed a little bit since 1930, is that correct, Clara? I think it was on Somerset Street, as a matter of fact, at that time. As a result of his father's work, he transferred from Princeton, Maine to Brewer, Maine. And she entered Brewer High School during her sophomore year. May I add, when she was in Princeton, Maine, she played baseball. When she came to Brewer High, they wouldn't let her play on the baseball team. First base, is that right? Clara was a first baseman. I'm sure Ken Perone would have used her as a coach. But anyway, she played basketball here and participated as a cheerleader for 3 years and was active in several academic organizations, such as the National Honor Society. As reported in The Trident, whether it's sports or studies, Clara's right in the race. This description of Clara was prophetic, as she graduated the class valedictorian, pursued a career in education, became a legend in women's athletics. Throughout Swan's career, beginning as a student athlete at Brewer High, she's been a pioneer for girls and women's sports. At Brewer High, Clara was introduced to three-court basketball. Now, some of you may want to ask her what three-court basketball is at a later date, and was the only interscholastic team sport available to girls at that time. An outstanding guard, she not only received her B letter all 3 years that she played basketball, she was a significant factor in leading the Brewer girls team to their first winning season in school history, her senior year. And I'll tell you, as a person who worked at the University of Maine, myself, with student athletes for several decades, I can't tell you how impressed I've been with the influence Clara has had on student athletes and student athletes. She knew what she was talking about. After high school graduation, Clara entered the Maine School of Commerce, known as Husson University today, and was recruited to play basketball under coach and school namesake Chesley Husson. Demonstrating her strong leadership early on, she captained the basketball team for 3 years. Upon completion of her studies, I'll use my high school history voice.
We have new batteries on the way.
No? Upon completion of her studies, she taught for 5 years in Mexico and Dover Foxcroft. She earned her bachelor's degree from American International College in Springfield, Massachusetts, and her master's in education from the University of Maine. After earning her degree, Mr. Husson again wanted her to be part of the Husson College family, offered her a position teaching business and coaching women's basketball. While at Husson, she spent 19 years coaching, compiling a record of 241 wins, 34 losses, and 7 ties. For all the years she coached at Husson, she never got paid. As she stated, it was part of my teaching duties. On the days her teams didn't have games, she refereed girls' basketball games at the high school and college level from Holton to Camden. These early refereeing jobs paid $5 plus traveling expenses, which she once described as an enormous amount. At Husson, Clara Swan was not only a coach and teacher, became a department head, a dean, the university's vice president. Her academic career culminated as president of Casco Bay College in Portland. Her numerous accolades are listed on our interactive screen, so I'm not going to list all of those. But at this time, I'd like to speak about Clara, the person, or the essence of Ms. Swan. Succinctly put, she made a difference in scores of people's lives. I've talked with several people who know Clara, and I asked them, what is the first thing that you think of when you hear the name of Clara Swan? Time and again, the answers were, if it hadn't been for Ms. Swan, I wouldn't have stayed in school. Or, she was always there to help. She's a bright woman, firm but compassionate. She could be tough, but laced with kindness. I believe this is a true story. You may correct me. You could confirm or deny it. One gentleman in the area here was having trouble in school, and she brought him into the office. And when he went in to see Ms. Swan, she said to him, I know you can do better than that. He had shoes on and no socks. He was financially strapped. So she gave him $2 and said, don't you ever go to another interview without socks. Now you may correct that story if it's not quite right. The stories go on, but it's time to celebrate this 102-year-old graduate for her decades of devotion to athletics and students. I would say that perhaps at this time, on behalf of the high school, we should apologize 87 years late that we didn't let her play baseball. But Brewer High is honored to be part of the formative years of this remarkable woman. May I present to you Ms. Clara Swan. She didn't think she needed the mic, she said.
Thank you very much for attending this evening. I think this is a wonderful event. When I first came to Brewer, I was a sophomore in high school, and the building downtown was brand new then. So I'm pretty I know you know how old I am. Everybody's been broadcasting. And I lived in Brewer only 4 years, but I consider that my hometown. I was born, brought up with the Indians down in Princeton, Maine, and came to Brewer when I was a sophomore in high school. And I was really happy to come up this way, and I've had a wonderful career, and I've enjoyed every minute of it, and thank you for coming tonight.